So now we come to another success story. It is the pride of Estonia. It is the largest IPO in Estonia. It is the green IPO in Estonia. And please welcome with applause Veiko Raim, CFO of Enefit Green.
Thank you. Very good to be here. Thank you everyone. My name is Veiko Raim. I'm CFO of Enefit Green, and really here to tell you all about the story, what we went through over the years when we were preparing for the IPO, and some reflections on the personal side. So a few words about me as well. So Riga is not a strange place for me. I've gone to school here. SSC Riga was my first business school, so always very happy to come back here. Afterwards, spent time in finance in London and Estonia, and then since 2009 I've been in power and energy, and really since 2017 being the CFO of Enefit Green. And indeed, all that time, somehow it has been, IPOs have been on the horizon, and finally a year ago we made it. So first reflection, on a personal note, so IPOs are not healthy, yeah? So if you can see the difference before and after, in 2009 when I went to do the IPO of Eesti Energia, and 2021 when Enefit Green IPO was completed, so you can see some change there, right? So word of advice, be very careful when you embark on that journey, and check also the guys beside you. But before we speak about the IPO itself, Enefit Green as a company is actually carrying with itself 20 years experience in renewable energy. We're the largest wind energy producers in the Baltics. We have operations in the Baltics and Poland, and also a development project in Finland. And solid financials. I think we are good and well positioned to do our growth journey. And really the highlight for us was getting listed last year in October in Nasdaq, getting 60,000 investors with us on a growth journey. And really our vision is to be the biggest, not only wind energy producer, but a renewable energy producer in the Baltics by 2026. That entails growing our capacity 4 times in a capital-intensive industry such as energy, so it's a huge ambition for us. And of course, we also want to grow in Poland. And why we think we are good, or what is our proposition to the investors, is really 2 things. One is that we take good care of the windmills, that we are intimately aware of how a windmill operates and how it generates power. And then secondly, we also want to grow very fast. So we have a good pipeline. We have actually strong local development teams in all our target markets. And finally, we are well positioned to actually execute that growth, so in a capital-intensive industry like this. So, IPO. Why did we go for that? Why did we want to do an IPO? So first of all, we needed capital. So this was the one main thing for us. So in order to execute growth plan, you need capital, and IPO was the way how to get that. Secondly, we set ourselves a target that we want to engage actually a lot of retail investors and actually be, as we said, the most popular IPO in the Baltics or in Estonia. And really, it is for us very important that we have lots of investors with us, because by that also the acceptance of renewable energy in the society grows, and it's easier for us also to do our business. So in a way, these were the two main characteristics. And while some people are doing the IPOs in 6 months or 9 months, we did it for 4 years. So essentially, it's probably one of the longest IPO processes that at least I have heard. And we had 3 starts in 2017. First of all, as you see, everybody cheery, let's do it, go for it. Well, what happened was that our main development project, that was our main growth journey special thing, right? That got disputed in courts, so we had to pull the IPO, right? So we stopped. Then we spent 2018 and 2019 sort of going through one huge acquisition and integrating that into our company. Then we started second time, 2020, right? Everybody a bit more serious, but then COVID came around, and the power prices were low, and some of our projects still got delayed, so we stopped the project actually in August 2020 for the second time. And finally, 2021, all stars were aligned, our projects were there, markets were brilliant. We had also the situation where we could actually sell the power that we needed in long-term agreements in the Baltic markets, which was something very specific to energy industry. And also the auditors played along, so we were all very happy. But one key learning for us is that it really, either 2017 or 2020, I mean, this IPO will not have succeeded as well, and for a few reasons. Because somehow there is an ideal time for every company to go public. For us, the value maximizing transaction was possible only last October, and if I now revise back 12 months, I think that was the ideal moment for us to do it. So what was the result? We actually increased the size of the transaction from 115 million to 175 million. We got the followership of 60,000 retail investors, which is amazing. I mean, we thought 24,000 was a big target because that was 50% more than anybody had ever done in Estonia, right? So that actually 60,000 was way beyond our expectations. And actually also the retail investors were forming the majority of the allocations, which is quite unheard of if you ask your friends in investment banking. In terms of what it also created, what we saw at least, that the spillover effect seemed to also be for the rest of the industry. So the IPOs that followed were also very well followed and supported. Probably also because this IPO was a success for investors as well, not only for us, right? So why was it a success, right? 5 things. I mean, fantastic story and a growth story that we wanted to grow, and renewable energy as a sector is, of course, at the moment in the middle of everything, but also 12 months ago. We had a very supportive owner who put in place a structure, corporate governance structure that was understood and appreciated by all the investors. A great transaction team, and this, by this I mean all inside the company team, but also the advisors. So I can't speak highly enough of all our banking syndicate, Swedbank, Nordea, and Citi who were there. Also the legal advisors, Ellex and Sorainen in the Baltics, Clear and Sherman in international scheme. Also the PR advisors. So essentially everybody worked together, and for such a long project, if you have 4 years and 3 starts, I mean it's quite tough, right? Markets were brilliant, and I think ultimately we call it investment culture explosion in Estonia. The fact that there was so much interest in investing in general, but then actually manifested itself, I guess, in the followership of Enefit Green IPO. Shareholders, who do we have today? So Eesti Energia, our parent company, 100% owned by the government, is still 77% shareholder. We have EBRD, we have Government of Norway via the oil fund. We have regional pension funds, SEB and Swedbank, and also good investors from Finland, such as Säästöpankki. But I would like to draw attention actually to the share of retail in our owners today. So it was 60% of the transaction during like a year ago, yeah? And actually it has increased, so actually there have been retail investors adding to their positions, also local pension funds. So, and of course, the journey has been good. Since the IPO, we're up 50% compared to the IPO price, and we're even up this year. So everybody has been happy. If there is one, perhaps going back for a moment, one sort of little bit fly in the ointment, I guess what the Brits say. So we could have done more. Eesti Energia was ready to go to lower, right? And lower ownership stake. And really where we saw where this additional could have come from was international funds. And really there we saw that we could have done it, but actually the valuations that we got offered were probably 15-20% lower. So even for a story which is good, for a solid growth plan, for a good sector, great markets as they were 12 months ago, we still didn't bridge this gap between the Western Europe and the Baltic markets. So you can do it, but for a big IPO, you probably need to be flexible on price. So I think I'm pretty much done. Before further ado, I'll still leave you with a bit of a reflection of how the money has been spent. It's the latest production from our marketing side, so hopefully we can start the video. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for excellent presentation, but there is some interest from the audience. So also a few questions to you, Veiko. Once listed, the company's share increased more than 10%. How you value this from the management and the majority shareholder perspective?
Good question. So I guess there's always this, that as a shareholder, as a management, you want the best value that you can actually bring from the transaction. And we were really in tough conversation with our advisors and everyone, and really the 290 where we reached as a sort of a compromise, and which increased, I think, 15 to 20% during the first day. Well, for us, of course, we would have wanted a bit more, but in the end we were happy. I think where we were a bit, tiny bit disappointed, if you can say that, is the volume and size. We could have done more. But then again, it was what it was, and that was the structure we had.
Okay. Another question. Why was IPO selected instead of bonds or bank loans?
We'll do bank loans as well. So, I mean, the investment plan is big, so we like to think it this way, that first of all, you need to have the equity in place in order to go through your growth plan. And once you have the equity in place, then you can carry on doing more with taking more loans, and perhaps bond market as well.
Are Latvians and Lithuanians active investors in Enefit Green?
They were. If I remember correctly, we had about 61,000 investors or thereabouts, and I think we had about 3,000-4,000 from Lithuania and about 1,000 from Latvia, if my memory serves me right, in the IPO. So we were very happy, actually.
Okay, so and then a little bit related question. Approximately how many new foreign institutional investors did this IPO, also considering it was arranged by one of the large investment banks? Where we were a bit not happy was that we saw great followership from the retail, from the regional institutional money, also from Finnish institutional money, also from Scandinavia. Everything outside that was a bit below our expectations. So we even marketed to US investors. We probably got one. We marketed in the UK. We got a few. So essentially, that was exactly what I had in mind, that still the valuation gap was such that we would have needed even to give more of the value away in order to have them on board. Aftermarket performance says that we probably would not have done a good deal. Okay, clear. Another audience member asks, where can a retail investor find out research on Enefit Green? Research, information, all the data?
Yeah, research, I think we today have 3 analysts covering us. So we have the information and on them on our investor relations webpage. Both Swedbank Norway, Nordea and Citi are covering, and they have the recommendations also what we update on our webpage. So this is the way how to contact them.
Another interested party is, how much did you pay for the IPO? What was the cost?
4 years. How do you measure that? Yeah, so
the fees.
The fees.
I
mean, actually, in the end, I think they were quite reasonable, given that we had the banking syndicate in place. If I remember correctly, we said out in the end that we were probably about 10 million euros, right? So it was 6-7% in the end with all the fees. So 5-6%, I should say. So it was a long process, and I think that is unfortunately, then you get fees for a free transactions almost. So that's what it was. Yeah.
And last but not least, as I say, are you also invested? Is your skin in the game?
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Let's greet Veiko.
Thank you.